Yo, what's up? It's SNT and you're watching episode 25 of the Bike Show. This is the weekly series where we check out some of your amazing bike builds that you have submitted to the email address that's down in the description and on the screen right now. And before we check out the amazing bikes that you guys have submitted to today's episode, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel and join the squad on the road to 20,000 subscribers. But now let's check out the first bike of the day, which is a Derbi Senda from somewhere in Europe. If we start with the engine, it is built with a Metakit 50cc cast iron cylinder, MVT premium inner rotor ignition, Polini 21mm carburetor, Malossi VL6 reed valve, top performance racing clutch, and a Voca Rookie exhaust. He bought the bike in really rough condition, so he rebuilt it and completely transformed it into the bike it is today. This bike has had a crazy glow up. Like, looking at the before and after, it barely looks like the same bike anymore. I think this bike turned out amazing. I really like the clean graphics kit you got on here, all the red details to complement the graphics kit, and that beautiful Voca exhaust just looks so good on this bike and definitely made a huge part of this bike. And that seat cover though, it looks really premium and really good as well. I'm not sure exactly where it's from, but it looks really good on this bike. All of this stuff just worked perfectly together to create the beauty this bike is. I don't have anything else to add to this bike. Thank you so much for sending this bike into the SNT Bike Show. Next up, we have a crazy 190cc monkey bike from Sweden. When he bought the bike, it looked pretty bad and was pretty worn out. So the first thing he did was to get it inspected and road legal, and after that he completely tore it down and rebuilt this bike from the ground up. And some of the things that are done to this bike includes a 190cc engine swap with a 5-speed gearbox, 28mm carburetor, Daytona SED style exhaust, and 1624 gearing. Then he also got some other parts on the bike, including a set of lowered Z50 forks, painted the frame, forged 8-inch wheels with Kitako tires, another fuel tank, custom seat, and a set of OKD 250mm rear shocks to make it look so badass. Like, this made a huge difference to the bike, and it barely looks like the same bike anymore. It just looks so cool and a lot better now than it did before. And I also assume it's hella fun to ride with that 190cc engine swap. But either way, it looks like a really cool bike, and if you know me, if you've been watching this series for long enough, you know that I'm a big fan of these monkey bikes. They're so cool, there's so much stuff you can do to them. It's such a cool bike and I really like these bikes. I would definitely want to own one of these in the future and do a crazy build on them. It's just such a cool bike, so much potential, and you definitely did a great job with that potential, making it into the beauty it is today. You did a fantastic job. I really like how clean everything is on the bike. I like that gloss black paint job and all the shiny parts you got on this bike. It looks so badass. It's just such a cool bike. But thank you so much for sending this bike into the SNT Bike Show. And before we check out the other cool bikes of today's video, if you have not already, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And now let's get back into the video and check out the third bike of the day, which is a KTM EXC 125 Supermoto project from Sweden. It started out as a normal generic orange KTM Supermoto, but of course he wanted to put his own touch on his bike, so he did a lot of stuff to this bike, and some of those stuff include a FMF shorty muffler, V-Force free reed valve, Heltec electronics quick shifter, I hope I said that right, probably not, but yeah, tinted the headlight and the indicators, suspension by Kumlin suspension, rebuilt the engine with a new cylinder, crankshaft, piston and more, KTM axle sliders, and a black plastic kit with a blacked out graphics kit on top with a badass matte finish. He also wanted to get a black fuel tank to really finish up the blacked out, murdered out look, whatever you want to call it, but sadly there was no black fuel tanks for sale for this model of the KTM EXC 125, so he was not able to finish up the look of the fully murdered out blackout look that he was going for, but I still think it turned out really cool. I do think that the orange kind of adds like a nice like a detail or something, like it's just a nice contrast to the rest of the bike. I would admit that the fully blacked out murdered out look would look really cool with a black fuel tank and a black rear spring, but overall it's a really cool KTM build. It's always nice to see a KTM Supermoto. It's a pretty cool look on this bike. Thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT Bike Show. Moving on, we have another KTM EXC 125, but this one is from Norway. And some of the things that are done to this bike includes a Scalvini exhaust system with a HDS slip-on muffler, polished the swing arm, the exhaust, pegs and the rims, powder coated the wheel hubs, KTM bling bling parts, 24MX seat cover, 20 raised fat bar, ODI grips, KTM MX number plate and a 320mm front brake disc to, give it more stopping power when you want to use the front brake and do some cool stoppies and stuff. This bike has had quite a glow up from that kind of worn down look it had before to this beautiful black look it has right now, but I do think it might be missing a graphics kit. I think a graphics kit would really take this bike to the next level and really make it as cool as it possibly can be. Even though it looks really good right now, I would think maybe a bold designs graphics kit on here. It's just a nice orange and black kit on this bike would look so good. Other than that, I still think it looks really good without the graphics, but maybe with some graphics, take it to the next level. But overall, I think it's a really cool bike. I really like how you polished a lot of parts on this bike and still kept consistent with the black and orange color scheme on the rest of the bike. I think that looks really good, and I assume it's a lot of fun to ride as well. So thank you so much for sending this beauty into the SNT bike show. The last bike of today is a 180cc 2013 Yamaha WR125X from Finland. If we start with the engine, it is built with a Malossi 180cc big bore kit, Malossi Force Master 2 CDI box, Malossi camshaft, stiffer clutch springs, a Gianelli full system exhaust and a top speed of 140 km/h, and I assume it has a lot of power with that 180cc big bore kit, so I assume it's a lot of fun to ride as well. He also went for a really clean look on this bike with a brand new white plastic kit and a nice fat bar handlebar, which did a lot for this bike. It looks really clean and it just looks like a new bike, and it kind of looks stock, but at the same time it has a lot of power. It's like a really fun bike to ride. I feel like it has a lot of potential to do even cooler, but as it sits right now it looks really good as well. I still think this bike would need a graphics kit as well, maybe, or something else to add some more detail, maybe a bold designs graphics kit or just some cool stuff in general on this bike. I think it would do a lot for this bike, but overall I think it's a really cool bike, and that engine build is, I think that's perfect. I feel like when you have a 125, if you can get a 180 big bore, a camshaft and maybe a high compression piston and some stuff like that, just tune it up a little bit, get that little extra power out of it. I think that's the best you can do with a 125 if you have some extra money, and especially if you have a 4-valve head. Thank you so much for sending it in to the SNT bike show. But that was the 5 amazing bikes from this week's bike show. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a future video, and join the squad on the road to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, which will be absolutely amazing. So make sure you hit the red subscribe button. So other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, it's been SNT, and I'll see you in the next one.